rolling. So today we're going to talk about AI, and what we're really going to do is kind of level set on AI. And frankly, we should. AI is outpacing Moore's law by quite a bit. I mean, we're judging the speed of progress and change in artificial intelligence by months as opposed to years, right? Like we used to do in the past. So, Abby, frankly, we should probably do these every, like 3 months or so, just kind of catch up on what's going on. And I don't think I'm going to specifically mention this in the presentation, so I'm going to do it now while it's at top of mind. But there's a few big hitters out there in terms of just, general artificial intelligence, right? And that's, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, OpenAI, which we're all really familiar with. And don't let them kid you, that's a part of Microsoft, right? And then the last one is Grok AI. Elon decided to get into the game about 2 years ago using HPE hardware. These aren't supposed to be sales related, but just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, in a 2 year period of time, he's now, I mean, as far as horsepower goes, has overcome the other ones out there. I have no brand loyalty. I don't care, but just so as you're having elevator talks with everybody else, Grok is killing it. Is just as far as horsepower goes. But anyway, Grok just released its new version, literally like a week ago. What is it now? Like Grok 4. So I lose track. But anyway, Sam Altman and the OpenAI guys, they're going to actually release their new version of ChatGPT like maybe this week. Um, so as I say, Grok is killing it today. Maybe when GPT comes out with their stats this week or next week. I mean, it could change that fast. You know what I mean? Okay, so here we go. Spilling the beans, July 2025, AI level set. And yeah, I'm Dean Shealy, security resource at High Point Networks. One of many. My main role is a consultant. My time is almost 100% free. If you ever want to chat, talk about technology or football, basketball, volleyball, music, whatever it may be, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. Okay, so here we go. Slide number one, my good friend Chris Watson, he goes, Dean, your presentations aren't very funny. He's a good friend, but I take that to heart. So I'm going to try to add a little bit of humor in here today. So I'm not always so good at that. So give me a little grace there. One of the smartest guys at High Point Networks is Andy. Whenever Andy gives a presentation, he gets up there, on the stage with his wireless mic, and he says, "Don't wear your wireless presentation microphone to the bathroom." So we love Andy for his sense of humor, but don't let him fool you. He's always the smartest guy in the room. And yeah, so anyway, that being said, with Watson adding a little bit of humor, let's start with an AI video. All right, sit back and relax. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. So the point of showing that is that the concept of artificial intelligence has been around for a long time, and actually, practically, it has been as well. In especially in military terms, World War II, trying to break the Omega machine, and Alan Turing, built a largely mechanical type of computer that helped break the codes, the Omega machine, used by the or Enigma machine, used by the Germans, and saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Helped win World War II, and from there it's really been popularized in pulp fiction. Probably also the Terminator movies. If you Google artificial intelligence, I probably watch about an hour of AI, video a day, try to keep up on top of it. And one of the subjects is always like, hey, is this thing gonna, hit a point where it becomes, like self-aware and then kind of, destroy us all like the Terminator. And I'm for sure that that's probably going to happen, and it's actually going to, start with my Roomba vacuum cleaner, and we'll put some DeWalt tools on top of that, and then I think that's how it's going to happen. But the point is that it's definitely been around for a long period of time. To substantiate that, I want to show you a commercial that IBM did in 2001, 2002, and we're going to roll that film right now. Yeah, a lot of foresight there by IBM, right? The kid in the commercial, again, probably done in 2001, 2002. I don't know. To me, he looks like he's probably 10, 11, 12 years old. If I had to guess where AI is today, I'd probably say AI is probably like a 20-year-old. I mean, it's progressing that fast, and the first that we really heard of it, was Chat GPT in 2002. This gives you an idea of how fast the adoption was. And I remember exactly where I was when I saw the internet for the first time. It's at a little community college. I think I saw, what was it, Netscape or some browser or whatever. And, what is this thing? But it still took a good, 4 or 5 years for the dot-com era to come about and to really get a grasp of what the internet was and what its potential was, especially how to monetize it and so forth. But if we look at a little timeline here of popular applications that we're used to today and how long it took to reach a million users, we take a look at the top there, Netflix, that we're all really familiar with. It took 3.5 years, and down to Instagram, very popular. Right, took 75 days for a million users to adopt it. Chat GPT, 5 days, people, less than a week, hits a million people. So it's progressed faster than anything I've ever seen. Not only the casual way that a lot of us use it today to help us write emails, to help us do a little bit of research, we even browse the web and stuff like that, but it's become, radically capable today of where it can even, like 40% of all coding today is done with AI. Isn't that crazy? Not only can it script for you, but it can write full blown applications. Um, I won't get into this today, but it's if you guys have seen the recent releases of the Google animation graphics engine, but specifically video, like no joke, it's going to be able to create movies in real time based on, the prompt that we give it, like unquestionably. Um, but anyway, AI, yeah, it learns largely like a child. Um, Now I'm gonna drop a little metaphor or a little pun here. See if you can catch it. But why do I say it learns largely like a child? Because we have literally created these things in our own image. Like I really mean that. It's already studied the entire public internet. In fact, it's ran out of information today to study. So it's synthetically creating information in scenarios to continue to learn and train itself. Has perfect memory. It never forgets. Its IQ today is around 170. About a year ago, it was 145. So around Christmas time, I mean, it might be up around 200, which essentially makes it smarter than everybody on the planet, with the exception of, maybe a handful of people. There aren't many others like him yet. Again, there's probably a handful of what I would call, the leaders, the 800-pound gorillas in the space. But yeah, say again. Oh, thought somebody said something. And what we're privy to public is probably a fraction as to what exists behind the curtain, especially military and finance and pharmaceutical and whatnot. Grok, again, the new version of that just came out like a week ago. The catchphrase for that is that the last human test or the last exam was written a week ago. And what does that mean? Every test that they could throw at Grok, every PhD, every postgraduate exam, the GRC, graduate record exam, even to get into grad school, they threw it at Grok 100%. In the blink of an eye. Got all the questions correct. This is multidiscipline too. Could be chemistry, biology, it could be mechanics, could be mathematics, could be medical, it could be, this, that, and the other thing. It's today, in my opinion, smarter than any human in that it's an expert in all these domains, not just one, like legal. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Again, the adoption, ChatGPT, in 2 months, 100 million users. So I'm going to show you a little video here real quick. Jeff Bezos, right, the founder of Amazon, he uses an electricity metaphor that I think is worth your time. So let's listen to that quick. So I guarantee you there's not a single application that won't be made better by AI. Right. So Jeff said it's like electricity. It's a horizontal layer, it can be used everywhere. It will be in everything. It's like electricity. And
Oh, Dean, I think you might have muted yourself there.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Not sure how that happened. Thank you. Thanks, Abby.
No problem.
But yeah, it's like electricity. Here's what a toaster looked like, kind of before electricity or before AI, right? Wood burning or whatnot. And here's what a toaster looks like afterwards, right? Like with electricity. And this is how we all know it today. And when I say to my daughter who's going off to college, hey, go buy a toaster, right? She doesn't say, do I get one with electricity or do I get one not with electricity? This is how it's going to be with applications too. It's like, I don't know that you're going to be able to buy an application without AI built into it, probably starting like today. You know what I mean? So when will AI really hit the marketplace? Well, here's a video from January 2003 or 2005, 2025 CES that I'd like to show you guys. Right. So if you guys are looking around YouTube or watching videos or whatnot, I mean, it's like AI is in your face all the time, all the time. I mean, you know, almost getting tired of it. But again, the purpose of showing these videos here is just to show you the proliferation of AI. Now, I want to show you, let me hit pause here. I'm going to show you that Jeff Bezos video one more time intentionally because I want to see if you can catch something that he says. He catches himself and actually corrects himself. He says the word AI and then he kind of does a head fake for a little bit, and then he says the word modern AI. And I think this is absolutely critical. It's going to come across on the slideshow here as maybe isn't very significant. It's absolutely critical. So here, just watch this here really quick. All right, so I think you guys get it, but what he said there, he goes AI. You have to remember AI, and then he does a little head fake thing, and he says modern AI. Is it, you know, horizontal layer transcend everything, blah blah blah. There's a difference between AI and modern AI, right? So here's the brutal honesty, spilling the beans, water cooler talk type of thing is that there is a difference between AI, you know, which we have kind of been promised literally like between the 1960s and maybe 2020, and now modern AI that exists today. Now, for a lot of us that bought technologies, it's like, hey, the math model will take care of it, the AI will take care of it, the machine learning will take care of it and whatnot, you know, and then we get these products and way, you know, and it just never really kind of lived up to the expectation. Now, it was truthful to say that those products had AI built in because I wish I could show you this pyramid. I just don't have time. I just don't have time for it today. But there's probably kind of like 5 or 6 levels of what AI would be, all the way up to where we're at today, which is, you know, generative AI, you know, and then it goes to AGI and super AI and whatnot. But anyway, to say there was AI in those products was truthful, but it's nothing like the AI that we're experiencing today. So why do I say this? Just because I want you to be aware that when you buy a product today and some salesperson or you see some advertisement or whatever says AI, I want you to always be thinking about, okay, is this the AI from the past or is this the AI from the present, you know, going forward? And the purpose of showing Bezos here is just to substantiate that thought. Okay, really quick here, Jeff said, right, I guarantee you there's not a single app that modern AI won't be a part of. This graphic here that I blurred out on purpose is kind of some of the core products and services that High Point offers. We've had to be studying all of them to see where AI is going to be integrated into all of them, like truthfully. And some of them are way ahead of the others, but they're all getting there without a doubt. Like here's an example of that, right? Like HPE just recently acquired Juniper Networks that was way ahead of everybody else on artificial intelligence. So now, and this is not a salesy thing. The reason I'm showing this is because it's probably one of maybe the first platform that does this to soup to nuts, to A to Z, to beginning to end, a fully AI native edge to cloud network platform. So there's just an example of where AI is going to be integrated into every layer of it. In fact, they're shipping some of their premium switches and things like that with, let's just call it AI coprocessors built into this hardware specifically for AI, right? Here on the other side of the spectrum, we don't even think about this, but like sound, light, and video has AI built into it, and kind of, everything in between. So it's proliferating, it's permeating everything that you can possibly think of. Okay, now there's about 3 different types of artificial intelligence, right? Narrow AI, it's kind of where we're at today. AGI, we're getting there. They think we're about 30% of the way there. That's where, AI will come across to us as being very much human-like, smart as a human, broad discipline. Again, I have no allegiance towards Grok, but Grok is the first to now take many different disciplines and put them into one AI experience. So like if you go over to GPT, you might have one that does graphics, you might have one that does data analytics, you might have another one that does this, that, or the other thing. Pretty soon they're all going to be brought into one experience and they're going to be able to pull from each other. So as it says here, AGI, human across the board, multidiscipline, that's kind of where that's it today. And then the artificial superintelligence, right? That's the stuff that we see in the movies. So just to give you an idea of some of the different flavors of it. So the AI versus modern AI thing, right? Kind of the cheesy little example is the alarm clock, right? Is actually AI because it's 24 hours a day. It's watching something. It's going to do something on its own based on a certain condition, and condition is the key word there. Conditions come as a result of algorithms, mathematical algorithms in traditional coding. That uses a lot of loops and, for each, if, do, while, else, if, so forth and so on. When a condition is met, an action takes place. For example, when 6:00 a.m. is hit, an alarm goes off, right? But then it just keeps looping and looping all day long until it, hits 6:00 a.m. and then it takes an action. Is that AI? It is actually, but it's a primitive type of AI. It's nothing like the AI that we see today. Right, so just what I talked about here, it's based on conditions. Here's some pseudocode that I wrote. The important thing to see here is that there is exact code written to form the condition. And the condition is seriously, it's like, if this, then that. If not that, then do this. Do that until, or loop while, and then a result appears. The AI today, believe it or not, God, it's just even hard to wrap your head around this. There's not a lot of code behind it. I mean, maybe like 2,000-3,000 lines. The whole thing about artificial intelligence is that it teaches itself and it programs itself. And we're not going to get into that today. I've done that in presentations in the past, and it's like an hour long, and people check out. It's kind of hard to understand. And to be honest with you, it's really not important that you do understand it. What's really important is that you use it as a tool, right? Who cares how a screwdriver is made? What's important is how do you use the screwdriver, right? Yeah, so here's just an example of how we use condition-based AI in some of our products today or recently in order to simulate AI, right? So if Bill tries to log into 10 computers within 3 seconds, then maybe something bad is happening. Okay, there's actually a query written behind that says if, right, if then, if Bill tries to log into 10 computers, right, the condition is less than 3 seconds, then, so if Bill does this, condition, and condition is true, then take action, right? Which is usually like notify somebody. But that's hard coded in there. This isn't a machine that absorbed a mountain of data and said, hey, here's a pattern, that we see that usually results in something bad as a result of that, then I'm going to contact somebody. But it's thinking, and it's thinking in context, and it's pulling from a mountain of data that it's seen across a long period of time. And again, it trains itself, so forth, so on. So just kind of a difference there. So again, as you're purchasing things, remember one of the key takeaways from this presentation is it old AI condition based, or is it new AI where it's very much neural network and training itself? This is the impossible travel example. We don't have to get into that. But all kinds of conditions and scenarios you can think of. So modern AI, again, right? How does it work? Mountain of data, tons of compute. We hear about this on the news all the time. Millions of GPUs in Texas, with Grok and ChatGPT, and not enough electricity and not enough GPUs to make the thing happen. But anyway, it functions via a neural network and not algorithms. So yeah, I think you guys get it. We won't get into how the thing came about, but this is literally a picture that'll probably be in the Smithsonian or something someday of where Google X in their lab was teaching AI for the first time, just like a child with a basket of toys, picking a toy out, and after a while realizing, what it was. And it learns like a child, where it's trying things out, and you have a teacher giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. This is very much a reinforcement type of model, so the AI can learn. Maybe it learns what a circle is, maybe it learns what a triangle is, and then it looks literally at like 1 trillion images on YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. It watches these videos and it starts to make correlations and understands that if a couple triangles, a couple circles, another little triangle are within a certain proximity of each other, the probability of that is a cat. And believe it or not, that's the first image that that AI began to recognize on its own on YouTube. I love dogs too, so we won't, get into that. But basically, this done during building neural networks. Something I want you to see here. This is again takeaway number 2. If you can look at the neural networks there, we won't get into how that works, but it starts out kind of with observations, and then it ends, on what it thinks is right. But there's a middle layer there in this neural network that is literally, academically written, called the hidden layer. And nobody understands what happens in the hidden layer. So watch out. If marketing or somebody tells you that they truly understand how AI works or how it got to some type of conclusion, like run away as fast as you can. Because there's this thing called the hidden layer that nobody understands. And this is what's so kind of dangerous or interesting or perplexive about AI and the way it thinks. And it hallucinates at times, and we really can't predict exactly what it's going to do. It's because of this hidden layer thing. So if you come across any vendor or anybody that says, oh, yeah, I understand how you... No, like run away, because you're getting fed a bunch of, I'm sorry, this spilling the beans, water cooler talk, just being really authentic with you there. So yeah, the learning the shapes and so forth. So we go to those basic things, and now we'll take it to the extreme, right? Where it was recognizing cats and maybe 2019, but now the artificial intelligence, obviously in Teslas, where obviously you need neural networks like this. You can't code all of the parameters and variabilities, variables, and the different things it's going to see in the scenarios that it may come across, because it's like infinite, right? So they really had to build a neural network to take care of that. But just the insanity of how far it's come, from traditional algorithms. God, we use the word algorithm all the time. And we really need to be careful and really kind of need to start maybe using the term neural network. The neural networks that have evolved today are just amazing. We went through the different types of artificial intelligence, right? We're almost 36% of the way, if you want to know precisely, to where they think we're at AGI. What's crazy is it's exponential. It took a couple years for ChatGPT to go from what they thought was 3% AGI to maybe about 8%, and then Grok took it from 8% to 16. Then it'll go to 16 to 32 to 64, and then we'll eventually, maybe by the end of 2026, really have something that we're really going to have to ask ourselves: is this thing self-aware? Like really, that's not a tinfoil hat thing. That's really where folks thinks it's going to go. Okay, these are the big players in the industry today, right? Copilot, Microsoft, Claude, which is used for a lot of coding, engineering, things of that nature. OpenAI, obviously, Google's Gemini, Grok. A lot of us, I think, have access to Copilot. That's a great place to go out and test and learn, and to be able to do everything from chatting to building AI agents, which we're going to get into in here in just a second. I always show this picture almost in every presentation I do of traditional, I'm a security guy, traditional security products. It's a slide that looks a lot like this. There's about 300 specific security products that we all kind of know about, whether it's, edge protection like firewall or endpoint or DLP or, whatever it may be. There's now a new drawing that's come out by the same company. I'm not sure how many products are on here. I'm guessing hundreds, 200, 300, 400. These are specifically related to AI. Now, when I mean related, I really shouldn't use that word. Their primary purpose in life is AI. That doesn't mean that they don't do ancillary things, but primary reason for all of the different tools on this drawing here, this poster, are AI related, right? And these have just exploded over the last 2 or 3 years. Legacy AI versus modern AI. They're better together, actually, in some cases. And the big reason for that is the hidden layer, right? In the modern AI, we can't specifically tell or predict what the result is going to be. The legacy AI, I know that alarm clock is going off at 6:00 a.m. every time. I can completely predict that. The legacy AI, think calculator, think math, think ATM machine. When I withdraw $100 from my checking account, I know exactly what's happening. I know what my balance is going to look like. It's predictable. It's like that every time. There's actually, the mainframes actually do dual processing at the same time. They do it over here, they do it over here, and then they check each other at the same time. And if there's any discrepancy, they throw it away and do it again. Why? Because that calculation needs to be precise every time. Is AI precise every time? No, because of that hidden layer thing. Will it become precise? I don't know, but it's not today. How do you know? Go out to ChatGPT, ask it the same question twice. You'll get a different answer every time. So here's that example, right? The big nonstop box, generally just a big calculator. Legacy AI for that. Perfect. Lightning fast, never screws up, okay? Where AI comes into play is where you want to do fraud detection, right? Where it's looking at all of these transactions, trying to find a needle in the haystack, trying to find patterns of where fraud may occur. That's where it excels. So what I would call like traditional AI, the algorithms, and modern AI, the neural networks, you put them together in a lot of situations. That's kind of the way to go. Kind of like, cloud, on-prem and cloud, these hybrid environments, probably the best way to go. To put my security hat on here, for example, I think, and we're going to get out of security and talk about agents and stuff here in a second, but from a security perspective, as we maybe look into a crystal ball, for example, this is something that we absolutely, well, I'll take the fault for this. Something that I think is absolutely going to happen, and one of the strengths of AI again is being able to find patterns in the chaos. Chaos theory states that, within the apparent randomness of everything that's going on, that there are actually patterns. Can we find them? The human, not so much. Can we code to look for them? Maybe a little bit, but it's not vast. We can't see things uh, that we don't predict ahead of time, that we don't anticipate, right? AI is excellent at this, and it fits so well into security. Trying to add a little bit of humor, like Chris said, the patterns of the chaos is not physical chaos, but digital chaos. And I want to give you an example of this. I'm going to use these are like visual metaphors, but our firewalls are going to give us a bunch of events, alerts, alarms, trends. We have a baseline. How are things deviating from baselines? And we're going to get little points on our telemetry graph, if you will. But the more information that we feed that graph, is the buzzword out there today. The more telemetry that we feed it, the more of a solid picture that we get. You know what I mean? And I know I keep using cats. I'm sorry, I should use some other animal. But the more data that we can throw at the AI, the more sense that we can make of our environments and what's going on in them. And the military word for that is situational awareness. And it's impossible. I'll use the word impossible. If you haven't read the news lately, people are still getting hacked. It's impossible to protect our environments without complete 360-degree situational awareness. And AI is going to bring us to a level of clarity as far as 360-degree visibility goes, like we've never seen before, like my Trump impression, like we've never seen before. Sorry, just trying to make fun of the president there a little bit. Yeah, we went over the chaos theory there. I want to show you a little video here that'll maybe kind of visually or metaphorically explain that better than I can verbally. So just think about all of these little dots that you're going to see as telemetry in our environments. We look at it and we can't make sense of it. We can't write algorithms. We can't code. We can't predict for what we might see. But like one of those pictures where you stare at it long enough, all of a sudden a picture of something comes forward, and that might be an indicator of compromise, if that makes sense. We're going to be like not able to do that with AI. And sorry, I'm running out of time, but we got a little funny thing there. I'm going to skip ahead. But yeah, chaos theory again states that in randomness, there are actually patterns. And AI is going to help security folks specifically see patterns that it's never seen before. One little interjection too, again, I mentioned that 40% of coding is being done by AI today. That is a very factual-based quantitative statement. That isn't like Dean's opinion. If you talk or if you read stuff by development shops, like Microsoft, like Google, like Amazon, like, whoever the other big, development shops are, that's what they're reporting. Pretty fascinating, right? So just wanted to mention that. Yeah, patterns, chaos. Now, here, I'm going to back up a slide. The example that I showed here, those little dots of telemetry are static, right? They're not changing. But anybody that's ever, been a SOC analyst or worked with a SIM or anything like that, you're literally getting like tens of thousands of events per second. How do you make sense of that? So our networks, I should say, our environments are not static, obviously. It looks more like white noise, the TV's in the middle of the night for those of us that are maybe 40 years old. Or older. So try to imagine making sense of that telemetry, right? It's impossible. So what substantiates this idea? And again, I say there's a lot of security people within High Point Networks, and I think we're all in agreement on this. Like I really do. And respect all my coworkers. A lot of them are mentors, but there's two huge security acquisitions that took place in 2024 that substantiate this thought. Palo Alto Networks purchased let's call it the SIM as a service portion of QRadar from IBM. Okay, why? Because Palo Alto understands that telemetry is everything. Why? Because it can learn from it, and as a service, people can start to throw their logs and events and alarms and whatnot at Palo Alto eventually with agents and AGI and all of this. It'll eventually be able to take action on its own. And maybe I should bring this up now. With that 360-degree situational awareness, we start to see patterns in the chaos. The natural evolution for AI is then to take automated response, automated mitigation, automated remediation. That doesn't mean that you don't have a human in there and basically saying, what are you going to do? Okay, I approve of that. AI, go ahead and do it. But telemetry, making sense of the telemetry, once that's done, then automation is the natural evolution of that. Okay, so it's two big acquisitions, Palo Alto, IBM QRadar as a service. Likewise, Cisco purchased Splunk. Why? Same reason, okay? Data is everything. Making sense of data is everything. Once that's done, automation takes place. Why? Because the hackers are going to be using AI, at the speed of light in order to, build exploits, deploy payloads, get a foothold into an environment, and then for the AI to very, what's the word I'm looking for, in an improvisational way, do the Plinko thing through your environment in order to get to whatever it needs to get to. The only way to fight that is you fight AI with AI, right? Okay, changing the subject a little bit. For those of us that are 100 years old or older, we remember the browser wars, right, from the early 2000s. I can't even remember. Was it Netscape and AOL and Internet Explorer and maybe Opera and whatever else was out there? And it's like whoever could win the browser war was going to win the world, right? And I really haven't heard that term for quite a while until a week ago. And what this is the AI agent wars are officially beginning, right now. And I think we have to talk about what agents are here for a second. And this kind of brings you up to date as to where we're at today, actually. Now, ChatGPT, again, they're going to release their new engine or whatever, maybe this week, next week. But just ahead of time, as a little teaser, I guess, they're going to have something specific within the chat platform. I love ChatGPT too. No brand loyalty. ChatGPT agents. And we're going to get into what agents are, but just to show you how recent the whole explosion of agents and how the conversation is now going to go from kind of chat, and chat will, always be there, but now agents as a part of chat, whether it be Gemini or GPT or whatever. What I really want you to pay attention to, I just clipped these out of YouTube yesterday or so. I want you to pay attention to the dates. This one was just yesterday. This one was 4 days ago. This one was 5 days ago. So this is like really happening in like real time. Okay. So what is an agent? Okay. Agents are basically no code. You can use natural language to speak to chat, for example, that says, hey, I want to do this. And based on that, it's going to automate what you want to do. Now, a simple thing would be like, hey, when I receive an email from somebody and it specifies a date and maybe this person's name is in it, then I want you to schedule a calendar appointment. But before you do that, look out to the recipients to make sure that they're free at that time. If they are, go ahead and schedule it, send the invite out to everybody. I mean, just think of a concierge, right? An agent will go do something for you. And it does this in a no code type of way. Believe me, there's code happening in the background, but you just tell it what you want to do. And then you can automate about anything that you can absolutely think of. Now, in addition to these large language models that we talked about, Gemini, Claude, Chat, there's going to be all of these like little specific agents, if you will. It might be an agent that, books a flight. There might be another one that gets you a hotel room. There might be another agent that, does calendaring. There might be another agent that, looks at the stock market or whatever. But the thing is to bring all of these agents into, integrate them into such a way that they can complete complex tasks on your behalf, largely through natural language. Okay. Now the possibilities for this are endless, right? Just because of the different combination of tools and the outcomes that you want and the inputs that you put in and so forth. So this is really kind of the hot thing right now. Again, we talked about chat telemetry eventually leads to automation. So this is loosely kind of a part of that. Different types of agents, reflex agents, again, going back to the archaic, this can be thermostats, if degrees aren't, so cool, then, turn the air conditioner on, to, model-based tools in Salesforce, taking action, remediation systems, maybe that's on security, for example, ERP systems. I can, scrape a bunch of, this sounds horrible, can scrape a bunch of data from LinkedIn in a specific area and figure out who, the IT leadership is. And, if it's government, whatever they've purchased in the past is public record. So you can become familiar with the products and so forth that they've purchased in the past. And, based on that, might give you a list of customers. And then based on that, you can send an email out, and do that in an automated type of way. And that takes like 10 seconds, right? Just so you know, High Point Networks is not that type of company. We're a very face-to-face, relationship-based, solve a specific problem-based company. I just give you an example of that as to what an agent might be able to do, right? Got it? Okay. Copilot, a lot of us have that. And there's actually something called Copilot Studio that, frankly, I was not familiar with until I started to build this presentation. I'm assuming, I don't know this for sure. I don't want to overstate something or misrepresent something. I don't know if you need an extra license for this or not. I don't know. But you can go into Copilot Studio and begin to play with building your own agents. And I think this is a beautiful place to do that because the Microsoft apps are so, integrated, whether it be, Teams and, email and, building documents and saving and sharing, and you even do stream to build videos and things. It's just all in a nice package, right? The integrations are already there. So I think if you want to build some automation and do that through Copilot, maybe through some natural language, and maybe there's some, I call it like a Jenga thing where you actually kind of move some steps of that automation around. This may be a great place to do it. And in that line of thought, I was going to show you some examples of, how I use AI today. Like if I want to build a virtual machine up in Azure, I can just tell it what I want to do. what size of box, what processor, what memory, what type of disk, where do I want it? I want it on the East Coast. I want a replicate of that. On the West Coast, I want this type of resilience. I want a reserved machine, blah, 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 blah. You just put that in their natural language, you hit go. 5 minutes later, you have a VM up in Azure, AWS or whatever else. It doesn't matter. But just to give you an example of that. More of that Copilot create agent screen, that'd be really interesting. Now again, I'm talking about experimenting now and playing with AI. As far as hardware wise, and again, this is this is not a sales talk. HPE is killing it. If you want to buy a piece of hardware, especially because of their acquisition with Cray a while back. This just shows you here, like compared to Dell and some others that I'm not familiar with exactly. That's what Elon uses in his data centers. In 2 years has caught up with ChatGPT, for example. This shows you Grok, how Grok is just murdering everybody as far as performance goes. But back to playing with things, like if you want to buy a little NVIDIA almost Raspberry Pi thing to just experiment with AI, to play with it, to build your own kind of data sets, and you're teaching it to learn and whatnot, you can buy a little thing here, about $250, or obviously you can go out to the cloud and rent GPUs and storage and stuff like that. So to learn, if you want to, there's a lot of, and this is a respectful, this complimentary term, if you're kind of a nerd like I am and you want to learn how to do it, that's definitely out there. Some of the big boxes out there, right? Some of you, okay, why do I bring this up? Because some of you are wanting to do AI in-house. You don't want to put your proprietary knowledge up in the cloud. Maybe, I think of a few of our customers, defense contractors, it's like that intellectual property is. So you want to do AI on-prem. This big Cray box here, the XD670, gave a presentation on this about 6 months ago. And at the time, that box was like $400K, like just that box. And I had a conversation with actually the HPE guy afterwards, and he's like, man, they're so expensive. And, I just, and it's just hard. They're hard to sell. Okay. So now that I've been traveling to some of the metro areas around the Midwest and whatnot, I'm aware of, and I'm not aware of all of our customers and their environments, but I'm aware of one of our customers that has 3 of those, right? $1.2 million worth of AI box in order to do their own, on-prem type of, I think they're doing data analytics through large language and so forth. These gold things over here to the left are actually GPUs, those big crazy giant ones from NVIDIA. The cool thing that HPE did is that they took their HPE box in Cray, and they, what do I want to say, hot rodded it in order to take all of this NVIDIA stuff. So you can manage it as a regular HPE box within your environment without having to do anything special. The alternative to that is you buy a purpose-built NVIDIA server. But then when you got to update it and patch it and do all of this other stuff, you got like 2 different environments you have to manage. So the smart thing I think that HPE did is they integrated that into their regular, I don't know, is it their ProLiant platform or whatever it is. So you get the horsepower and the ease of management and the whole AI suite of tools around it to, manage it and optimize it and stuff like that, all within one package, which I think is super cool. Jeff Bezos, right again, AI will be a part of everything. 2024, in our opinion, was this year of large experimentation for businesses to learn or to experiment how they're going to use AI. AI, let's just say in the back office in the data center, and then AI for the worker out front, whether that be human resources or marketing or sales or whatever that may be. That continues today. That experimentation continues today, right? So the best way to do that, again, I can't show all of the different scenarios. So you just got to go out there and do it. Maybe we'll do another spilling the beans on some of these specific scenarios based on, role or department, but just can't do that today. But start experimenting today. 2025 now for some organizations is what I would call a strong adoption. And we definitely see that in our customer base as well. Usually that starts with a Copilot, but then it can, go out from there. For example, Adobe has, built-in stuff, Microsoft Power BI, data analytics, all day long. Now we're getting into agents and so forth. And, so I guess you're kind of, like we have all along is to experiment. And then if that adds value, adopt at the same time. But for leadership that's on the call that we have from a lot of organizations, please, please, please allow your employees to experiment with it. If it has value, great. If it doesn't, forget it. But at least and the only way you're really going to know is to experiment with it. So practice and play around. Again, these are the big large language models, right? But now there's going to be a whole bunch of these, agents, if you will. Again, here's another picture of ChatGPT, Copilot, right? Very strong place to start. Very mature. Okay, security, and we're almost done. We got like 5 minutes left. Myself, our CTO, the director of our cybersecurity team, director of professional services, a lot of the security, Josh, Caleb, I should stop mentioning people, Mike Traylor, all of these security people, that Chris Watson, that I really look up to. Every AI conversation at 100,000 feet is the data governance conversation, right? Because you want AI to crawl your data, but some of it you don't want it to, right? And the whole AI security thing is becoming a big, huge space. Identity and access management is a huge part of that. How are you going to keep AI away from it? Don't give it access to it, right? Don't isolate it from, kind of a network partition. Like actually go to the data on the file, like literally at the file level, say who can and can't access it. That's all you got to do, right? And then AI-driven automation, I keep talking about that. Okay, this is important. And then we're going to end the slideshow here. This substantiates that last slide that we've been preaching for a year and a half. Okay, this is too small to read. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the next slide that has actually like kind of zoomed in on it. And I had to break it in half because it's too long. Okay, this is by Sam Altman. Who's one of the co-founders of OpenAI, along with Elon. If you guys didn't know that, isn't that weird? But where's the date? See the date here, July 17th, right? So this is just, what is that, like 6 days ago or so. And he's saying this right before, the new version of Chat comes out, and he talks about it and how awesome it is. And he says there's risks and stuff, but he gets into the risk part, and this is really important. So just give me 60 seconds as I read this. We don't know exactly what the impacts are going to be, but bad actors may try to trick users, AI agents, into giving private information. They shouldn't take actions that they shouldn't in ways we can't predict. Why can't you predict it? Because there's so many possibilities, and there's the hidden layer. We recommend giving agents the minimum access. It's all about access control, folks, to complete a task to reduce privacy, data, and security risks. For example, I can give agent access control, to my calendar to find time that works for a group dinner. I don't need to give it access control. If just asking it to, buy me clothes. So, based on the agent's role or task or whatever, and based on the outcome of that and the financial impact or whatever, you let the thing just rip, or you can drill it down from an access control perspective. Then there's more risks in tasks like, here we go. Look at the email overnight, whatever you need to do, address it. Don't ask any follow-up questions. This could lead to untrusted content from a malicious email, tricking the model into leaking your data. Why DLP isn't as popular as I think it should be is like one of life's mysteries. Anyway, look for data governance to be a big thing in the upcoming future as well. Anyway, we think it's important to begin learning, playing with a thing, blah, blah, blah. He talks about capabilities, society, technology. You know, even you watch these YouTube videos, it gets into philosophy, religion, all kinds of stuff. But it's, but anyway, what's the point of this? Data governance, data governance, data governance, identity, 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 and access control and authorization, right? Passwords, multi-factor auth, zero trust, assume breach, simplify, standardize, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But please, folks, please get a hold of your data. Know where it is, know what it is, know who has access to it. Put some type of DLP in there to make sure that it doesn't leave your environment. Every AI conversation is a data governance conversation, in my opinion. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I went long. It's such a deep topic and there's so many rabbit holes to go down and it's so hard to tell, you know, even where to start or whatnot. So I just read the chat, Andy Middlemiss. No matter what Watson says, you're funny, Dean. So anyway, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat there. A lot of people I understand I'm like this too. I don't like to ask questions kind of in public. So if you want to email marketing@highpointnetworks.com to ask your question, they will route that to me and I'd love to have a conversation with you. I say this every spilling the beans. I promise you that HPN, High Point, will not spam you as a result of contacting us. That's not how our business operates. So feel free to reach out later on if you have any questions. And if I can't answer it, I'll hand it off to the person that I know who will, like, for example, Chris Watson, who is one of our several experts, you know, on the Microsoft platform, cloud and on-prem and stuff like that too. And again, Abby, you know, as this thing evolves, I mean, frankly, we should probably do this every 2 or 3 months and just kind of catch we'll call it like an AI level set or something like that, and just go from there. So with that being said, Abby, Brandy, I don't know if you guys want to wrap it up, but it's an honor to speak with everybody today. We have the smartest audience out there, and I hope that this added some value to your AI journey. So yeah, Abby, Brandy, I'll hand it over to you guys for closure.
Perfect.
Thank you. Abby, I'm going to sneak in here before you wrap it up and just let the group know that if you have any ideas or you want to hear about a specific subject that maybe we haven't covered that's not on the docket, I highly encourage you to reach out to the marketing@highpointnetworks.com. We would love your feedback. We would love to hear the things that are important to you and take those subjects and then share them out. So I will say that and then I'll get out of the way so Abby can wrap everything up and everybody can have a great rest of their Wednesday. But I just wanted to throw that out there that if you do have some ideas, please send them our way. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandy. All righty. If there are no questions from anybody, we will go ahead and wrap everything up. We truly want to thank every single one of you for attending our series this year. This does wrap up our Spilling the Beans series for 2025, but we'll be back next year. Dean, thank you so much for being our host. Truly appreciate it. I think that'll be everything. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Thank you for your attending.
Thanks, everybody. Catch you next time. Love to talk to you in person. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.